Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the counselor's office. Mr. Gaming Counselor, and we are back with, well, I don't know if you call it a react, but we are doing a Destiny 2 tier list. I've seen a couple of these going around on Twitter, people posting what they think is the best. But this tier we're going to look at is seasons. That's right. Seasons are going away, and now I think it's a good time to kind of take a look to see what was the best seasons, what were the worst seasons. This one does not include DLC because mostly, like Curse of Osiris, it wasn't a season, it was a DLC. So anything that actually was a true blue season, we will count. So let's jump right into it, right? And this is very obviously subjective, right? Very subjective. You may disagree. This is going to be based on several things, like the fun factor, maybe some essentially, did they do something worthwhile? Were they innovative? That's the word I'm looking for. Were they innovative? Were they, was it good story? Was it good content overall? Was it worth the value? We'll explain per season, but I kind of just want to jump into it and explain it as we go. So there's 23 seasons, but technically only like 18 of them are real seasons. I'm going to just start by right there. I know that's going to be controversial. The Coil was I did say in my season of the Wish review that the Coil is probably one of the best seasonal activities we've ever had. But personally, the dialogue sucked. There was no gameplay because you just played reused. You replayed everything that was already in the game. The Star-Crossed mission was short and far too easy because it was baked into the seasonal missions. The weapons overall, like the scatter signal is probably the only weapon you really need. Everything else is optional. You could easily replace it with something else in the game. It is a very bad season. Very bad. Very freaking bad. I am going to do something I never thought I would do. I'm going to put, and by the way, the dungeon doesn't count. You're like, well, it has the Warlord dungeon. No, that you have to pay. It's separate. Dungeons are not being considered. Dungeons do not play a part in this because they were separate. Season of the Plunder. This used to be my most hated season of all time. I hated it, especially when they did. This is where they first introduced reused assets, bringing back the Mars Lost Sector and whatnot, and repurposed it. But it had two different actual activities, true activities, not just like pulling away from the other activity. It was a true blue. This is two different activities. It gave us the Taken King raid, and it brought the first true new player starter pack. It's the Gift of the Thunder Gods, where you could have an exotic armor for each class. You get the Thunder Lord, you get a whole kit of legendary weapons. You had armor that you could actually had mods pre-slotted. You had a functional build. This was something that they've never done, and I still give them crap, and I still laugh at them for bringing that one back, but not doing anything different. Like, I'm not giving them points for Into the Light. Like, hey, we brought this back. Yeah, after people grilled you of the $15 pack. GTFO, my friend. GTFO. It also introduced Nezarec, which is something we've been really, really wanting, whether you liked it or not. I thought the story was good. The whole pirate theme really matched Fallen, because Fallen are kind of like pirates. They like pillaging, going through stuff. I mean, it wasn't necessarily the funnest, in my personal opinion, but I liked it. It was unique, going up onto different ships, invading, taking over. Like, it was neat. I personally did not enjoy the activity, not because it was bad, but I'm just not much of a pirate fan. Like, outside of like Assassin's Creed, Black Flag, all of that, I really just don't like pirate games. So that's just a me thing, but I can appreciate all the effort that went into this season. Let's see. I'm going to say S tier for Season of the Forge. We got a raid, like a true raid, not a returning raid, a true new raid. We got a hidden quest, or if you want to call it, Nobi Labs was very secretive, very challenging. It was hype. The forges, even though the forges, yes, were not necessarily as fun. They were quick, they were easy to do. You could target farm. It was the first time we ever got the ability to target farm, random roll weapons, and get the specific weapon we wanted. Very innovative, very fast. You could get what you wanted. The fact it also introduced new world drops and the forge weapons, like the black armory weapons. It's not really forge, but black armory weapons and the world drops, which was awesome. So I will give it S. I will also give Season of the Drifter S tier. I'm not a Gambit fan, but Reckoning was challenging. It was so hard that they had to nerf it, but it was awesome. It was challenging. It introduced loots that people still talk about today. And Gambit Prime was also very innovative. Armor sets that if you wore gave you different perks, different like actual like Diablo 4 sets where you had different roles in the game. That's awesome. Whether you think it was successful or not, that's neither here or there, but they were innovative. They did something, which is something that's going to stand out in a lot of these seasons, is they don't try new things, or at least things that matter. Now, Season of the Deep. I'm going to place, I'll give it a B. Again, they were innovative with the rogue elements. I hate deep dives. I think they're really boring. The exotic mission was a cop-out. They took literally half that seasonal exotic mission and used the deep dives that were already pre-made. Again, it's just like, you know what? And actually, the more I talk about it, I'm putting in F. That right there, like, there was a lot of cop-outs. You know, I'll give it D. Because at least it tried something different and it had new assets. But it was just nearly as bad as Season of the Wish when it comes to the exotic mission being a cop-out. It also used cut content from Lightfall for dialogue that, like, why? Why did we learn everything in this season? So this season is brought down for the fact that it was so stupid. Also, the fact that Titan isn't even brought back. It's just a temporary little bubble that you can see. D. Yeah. We can all agree that Season of the Undying was pretty boring. It was obviously like their prototype, you know, revamp. We're on our own season, but it was pretty bad. I don't remember anything worthwhile of this season. It did launch right by Shadowkeep, and a lot of people give Shadowkeep a lot of grace because it was supposed to be Bungie's first attempt going solo without anyone being over the shoulder. Listen, I give them props for doing things on their own, but it's not that good. It's not that good. Season of the Rivals, honestly, is B. Season of the Rivals had some great weapons. It really tied in the story, like thematically, the pyramids everywhere. No, you could argue that Lightfall and this whole year has kind of shifted the story, and now looking back, like, this seems really stupid because the pyramids were empty. Like, so stupid. But for the time, it was really building the story together, going to all in how they, because we knew sunsetting was happening, and I think it was a very, even though you may hate sunsetting, we can agree it was very clever how they made the sunsetting actually canon. They made it lore wise with the pyramids and the darkness overlapping. So, and the activities were all right. Like, it also gave you, if you remember, they unlocked all the raids. They unlocked everything, and you could farm whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted. You know what? The more I talk about it, this is S tier. Season of the Rivals, and I'm going to say even Season of the Rivals is better than these. These were innovative, but this was a proof of concept from Season of the Rivals that you can unlock all the content without having to do rotators or locking people out from being able to play the game, and you can have a lot of success. This was also a very long season. I mean, not as long as obviously Seasons of the Wish because of how, but there was a delay here. We had a delay. I'm telling you, this was a good season. It wasn't like the best of the best seasons, by no means. It was not the best of the best seasons, but it was a good season. It had enough content, and the fact that you could replay and grind out all the weapons you wanted before they sunset it, which now looking back was also kind of poo-poo because you let people grind out guns that essentially would not matter. But it is neither here nor there. The fact that you could grind your heart's content, gamers got to game this season. So I'm going to put that as a special S tier because of the fact that it's a proof of concept that yes, you can unlock and remove rotators and let people grind raids and all the other content nonstop, and it's okay. People will still play. Warmind. I'm going to give Warmind A. The exotic mission was fun. It was pretty good. I liked the season, even the end, how they, like, obviously this was leading into Lightfall. Like, how are you going to solve the fact that there's this whole space array that could fight the Witness, and the Witness is interacting with the big baddie. Oops. Like, it meshed well. That's what I'm saying. Like, the story meshed well. It had the perfect setup for Lightfall, and Lightfall fumbled the bag. But I would say the weapons were great. Weapons were great. I think the story was good. Elsie, the Stranger, Clovis Bray. I mean, Clovis Bray, the whole story of Clovis Bray, that was interesting. And we've been wanting to know more about Clovis Bray. So that was fantastic. And the Warmind, I mean, it does suck that they concluded his story, possibly. But it was a good season, in my opinion. Season of the Defiance. D, or you know what? Yeah, F. This season contradicts the main story, and I don't understand why. The Witness did not care about Earth. They were not there for Earth. They didn't even see the Guardians as a threat. Literally, my dude does like a with his finger and destroys ships into like pepperoni slices. And you're gonna tell me he sent the Cabal to Earth to kidnap random people on one part of the Earth, the European Dead Zone, hold them hostage because of the power of friendship? No. Even though Cyrus says in the Lightfall, oh, he wasn't even worried about us. We weren't even his target. He just wanted what he wanted, which was access to the Veil, and that was it. We were nothing but pawns to the Witness. If even that, we were a joke to him. So this season was a joke to me. Not only that, but they took a character that we've known for years and they killed her off in the most nonsensical way. They killed her off, and if you watch the video, they killed Amanda Holiday for 5 random dudes. It would have made sense, which they could have done it. They did the whole starting mission where she was kidnapped and held hostage, and us and Crow go to rescue her. They could have just saved that, and it made it a situation where Crow was kidnapped, and we went to rescue him, and Amanda Holiday sacrifices herself for Crow. But they didn't. I can make better, like, this is like bad fan fiction. This is what this is bad fan fiction. Had really cool, like, ornaments and armor. The weapons are mid, except for the auto rifle, which is popping in PvP right now. But everything else is pretty mid about it. Let's see. I'm going to say this was... I'm going to say B. I actually did enjoy... was it Season of the Nightmare? I forgot what season this is. That's going to drive me crazy. I enjoyed this season. They brought back the Leviathan. Again, the dungeon doesn't count. but I really enjoyed this season. It's gonna bother me. So let's see. All seasons. Whoops. Yeah, no, I'm good. D2. Shack News. Let's see. Season of the Haunted. Okay, I was close. It's Season of the Haunted. Where's my thingy thing? And there it is. Right here. All right, so Season of the Haunted had banging armor ornaments that I still use. They brought back weapons. Love the weapons were poo-poo, but they look thematically and sound amazing. I know a lot of people still use the auto rifle. The rocket launcher got nerfed with chill clip, unfortunately. RIP, it used to be really good. The scout rifle is a meme gun. If you want triple tap 4 times the charm, it's a meme. I mean, the story was all right. It was all right. The seasonal quest was new. It was something. It was not necessarily innovative, but at least it was new activities. It was a new mission versus reusing assets. And you could patrol the Leviathan, or at least certain parts. They made it a patrol spot, which is cool. It's more unique than what these other places did, which you couldn't even patrol, like the Dreaming City, outside of what's already there. So I give him credit. I say it's B tier. I like the weapons at that time. The mechanic, like the fighting bosses, was cool. Having giant scythes is pretty cool. It is B. You know, I would say it's mid. B is like all right. It wasn't the worst, but it wasn't the greatest. I don't really remember this season. I'm gonna give it D. Like I remember the weapon. This was the problem with this season. Let's see. Season of the Lost. Yeah, Season of the Lost. The problem with Season of Lost is what I have a problem with 90% of any content that's before a big expansion is that it's so forgettable and you don't get a lot of time to do with it. Now, I remember like the ley lines. You know what? I take it back. I'm giving it B2. And here's why. Because I remember they brought back like the Shattered Realm. And every like week you get to progress and do different parts of it. You got to explore. You had the different missions. The activity also changed. And all of that, they had the end of the season event was pretty cool. You got to see the worm god above the tower. We got to fight like a last stand. It was epic. It was actually a pretty cool way to step into the Witch Queen, like a great introduction into the Witch Queen. So I would say it's B, just because the lore was good. The weapons at the time were pretty good. Not the greatest, but they were all right. And just activity